one at 20 Walcott Street that is always open to access, but right now, we're gonna concentrate on this one and see how it works.
How much are they into the town for, roughly?
For taxes,
Back, any kind
I
of back?
did not look at it, but he has been, the gentleman is destitute, he's a veteran. I found him, I brought him into court, and he said, I got nothing, you know, and the judge looked at me and said, this might be a good one for receivership. So, I took her advice and I went, sought out the AG, and hopefully this will work and we can move on to more buildings, but,
Nice.
my opinion, I don't wanna take any buildings down in town. In my opinion, if I could rehab them and get them back on the tax dollars, that would be much better for the town. So,
Make one of the bigger ones.
66 Central Street, I have been trying to work with Mr. Hunter Foote, who is the owner of 66 Central. My intent is, I actually got this one in court and got a court order to demo it on Mr. Hunter Foote. He wants to save it, and he's got several other concerns in town that I've been working with him to try to
Just
get.
the one in the back?
Yep.
Yep, that I've been trying to get him to do things on, so I gave him an opportunity to prove to me that he would be a good landlord in town. He has failed to move on anything. So
The
at this point,
foundation of that
Yeah.
is,
Well,
we would require an engineering report and everything on the engineering report prepared. This is the one we declared unfit for human habitation.
does you
You on the board a year ago?
No, he wasn't here yet.
Okay.
It's just me and Dave.
Dave?
So quick question, does he own any, like, businesses that
In
all need to
town,
be fixed, or whatever it may be, that he can stand in front of us to shut him down? Because if he's making money off other people, you know.
His investments in the town of Southbridge, to my knowledge, are, I believe he has a halfway house that is no longer serving as a recovery house. But it's no longer serving as such, it's now a rental, single family. He's got multiple, he's a huge property owner for apartments, residential. He has one business or one building, 111 Central Street, which has Fidel's in it, but he does not hold the license for Fidel's. The harm would be to Fidel's if we shut that down, not to Mr. Hunter Foote. And that building, we have to meet with the owner of Fidel's because we're not sure that building can take a snow load. The roof is open, so we're not sure it can take a snow load, and it might not be safe to leave Mr. Galley in there. So we may be approaching him to take a vacation for the rest of the winter. I'm in discussions with the assistant building inspector right now on that.
Is that separate
from the.
from the old pharmacy building, which is right in the corner?
Yeah.
There's actually,
Does he own
the
that?
whole, I'll call it a structure, it's not, it's three structures. The building that's up in the burn, that just recently got bought, the corner
The
boutique
corner boutique was
is
the old
a separate
pharmacy.
building, and then from there, down to Galley's,
Okay,
down to Fidel's is
the one you're
a
talking
third
about.
building, yes.
Okay. Does he own that?
He does not own the whole corner, he owns
Okay.
only
Just that?
the building at Fidel's. So maybe 3 to 4 storefronts,
Mhm.
plus the second floor where I just found out used to be a bowling alley, I believe.
Yeah.
Yes, no.
He owns that building.
Okay.
I'm not aware of any businesses that we license that he has any authority over, or any, yeah.
They're all residential.
So I filed contempt of court on 66 Central, that is scheduled for January 22nd. We will hear that one, and I will ask the courts to enforce the order to demolish unless Mr. Hunter Foote shows me serious My biggest concern is to save Fidel's. It's a business in town. My biggest concern is to save him. If there's any way we can keep from putting a business out, I want to keep from putting a business out. But if he does not show me any consideration of his own tenants between now and the time of this, then all bets are off the table and I'm going for the full contempt. I will ask for penalties.
Can this go on the same thing with this embarrassed heck out of him?
I don't think you can advertise more that this particular property owner is everybody, it's just not, it's out there.
There is a lot of people in town that don't know the struggle, like, never mind Fidel's, but like you say, this gentleman owns a lot of property.
He does, he's one of the biggest landlords.
He,
And
never mind the resources, and I remember going in some of this property when I was still working with the ambulance calls and stuff, and oh my God. Never mind the tenants that he's still collecting rent from. And to me, that really lights a fire because you're collecting money and you don't put anything in it. And if you can't afford it, sell it.
Yeah.
There's other people that are gonna take over. But we've got a business, this isn't our core area of town. I don't wanna see the, I can't remember the name of the old pharmacy, the corner building, which is a beautiful building, get damaged. Never, plus the business.
Yep.
You know, there were other businesses in those storefronts years ago that had to get out because it was such deplorable conditions. So they already had to move. And there's a lot of people in town that really, a lot of people don't see things. The core area of people that we're involved with, they know. But the general public, I know like my parents. My mother's got a big mouth. Everybody knows my mother. But she doesn't realize what's
We're not
going
filming
on.
this or anything.
No, I
Don't
don't
worry
worry about
about it.
Doesn't matter, she knows. But there's a lot of people who don't know it. When you get people like that in their circles that see it, it spreads more.
I will, again, I'll talk to her about how far we can push the advertising these names and businesses.
quick question, of all the properties that he owns, how many of them are compliant and up to code? And how many are not? General, it doesn't have to be specific.
Cannot answer that because obviously I haven't been in all of them. When we go into them, we bring them up to code. Have I ever been called into one where I didn't find the violation? No, but I haven't been called into your house either. So I can't tell you if there's violations in the ones I haven't been in.
So of the
Generally
ones you've
speaking-
been in,
Generally
what
speaking,
percent?
his name comes up a lot.
Okay,
I get a
So
lot of
it's
complaints about his
habitual.
properties, yes. And in my 4 years here, we have declared 2 of them, one due to a fire and one due to a roofing incident where he peeled the roof right before a major rainstorm. And we ended up vacating
Okay,
the entire property.
okay.
so, Ms. Marquetti, right up.
I wanted to ask about 9 Rose Street.
Again,
That's
still
on his
going.
list.
Oh,
He's
so-
not done yet.
So,
can I, before you go, I just want to say, I'm with you on this. I mean, we cannot assume that the public shaming is, I think, a great way to hopefully save, at least fix up the place, fix it up to make it look. So I'm all
And this one
for it.
has a business, support your tenant.
A lot of these people, even if they're not in town, you know, just evidence, they have friends, they have families, they're not, people don't, mold doesn't like light. And that's really what all we're doing is shining the light. Maybe it won't go anywhere, maybe it helps 5% of it. So, but I'm with you on this.
But it's cheap.
Yeah, and it's cheap too.
going forward into the spring, actually, this year so far, we have taken down 2. We took down 784 Main and we took down 215 Morris Street. Going into the future, into the spring, I anticipate, I just got a call from the owner of 9 Rose. He claims he's going to pull a permit before, we have him under court orders to take it down by January 30th. His claim is that he will have a permit by that time, but he won't be able to get the contractor freed up until probably February, March. I'm actually okay with that as long as the permit's pulled and there's a start date on the thing. Sitting here, if I don't see a permit by January 29th, the following week I will be filing a contempt on that one. And my suspicion is the town will end up going in and taking this one. So that's the first one on our target for, actually 80 Hamilton is the first one in our sites for the spring. This will be the second one in our sites for the spring. The third one is, I think it's 68 or 58 Pine Street. It is a property that this board declared unfit for human habitation 1 year ago, last September, I believe. There were 2 occupants on the second floor. The water system had been all ripped out.
I think it was longer than that, because I don't recall Pine Street at all.
No,
So-
I would have been here for that.
There was
And I've
another
been here
one
for a
over on.
year.
It was over a year ago,
It was-
but at 1 year, we can, if you declare a place unfit for human habitation, or a section of a place unfit, And 1 year following that declaration, no repairs have been made, or no attempt to repair, then the law allows that the Board of Health can take it down under 125, I believe.
Except that that was the case with
So-
Central Street, and we're still dealing with Central Street.
We are,
And
only,
that's been a year and a half.
only because I'm insanely cautious. I started that process immediately after a year. I am going to give every person every opportunity to not have to comply, only because if I misstep, if I don't give them an ample opportunity, then the town opens itself up to libel.
Start back.
So that actually, I started the court process and the removal process 1 year and 1 day following our declaration. This one on Pine Street, a bank interceded and said they wanted a chance to take it down themselves. Obviously, if I can get private money to take down private problems, I will. She's been stringing me along for approximately 6 months, so as of February 1st, I told her, as of February 1st, I'm going to start advertising for that. So the 3 we'll have on our agenda or on our sites are 9 Rose, 80 Hamilton, and I think it's 68, it might be 58 Pine Street.
Okay, what?
50.
Yeah, he was wrong. It's 58.
I was half right. 58.
Mr. Marquette?
Okay, don't get me wrong, I'm not criticizing you, Andy, I'm not criticizing anything. But I've been driving by 9 Rose Street, that's been going on
It will
for
be 1
almost
year in
a
March.
year.
Mhm.
Now, that looks like a very hazardous building to me. And it's in my own opinion, that's a lawsuit waiting to happen there, because that's attracting a lot of rodents, it's very dangerous. Even if I lived there, I'd be pissed off about it, because let's say my kid got in there, doesn't belong there, told my kid to stay out of there, but my kid got hurt there. That would still be a lawsuit, I would think. And I would think it's not just the person who owns it now, but the person who owned it when it happened would be liable as well. But that's just my opinion. Like I said, I'm not criticizing you over this building. I think it needs to come down. I wonder if you've ever thought of using CDBG grants. I know they can be used for blight. I've read it on their website. Those type of grants can be used for blight. And I'm wondering if, I think the shaming idea is an excellent idea. I'd go with that. But also, you can use grants for taking rid of them.
Mr. Marquetti makes 2 points. The first one is that building should come down as fast as it can come down. I concur. Currently, we are under court restriction, meaning they didn't stop us from doing anything, but we brought an action to the court, and the court said, you will have it down on this date. So we have to wait for that date. We cannot intercede where the court set a schedule to do something. That date is January 29th. Thereafter, because if he doesn't progress on it, at that point, because it's already in the courts, it has to be a contempt case, where I have to bring it back to the court and say he failed to do it, because it is now under court jurisdiction. So we will move forward as fast as we can move forward. My intention, if he fails to comply, and I'm not confident he's gonna fail yet, but if he fails to comply, I will bring it back to court, and I will try to do a agreement with him to keep it away from the judge, and the agreement will be the town's gonna step in and take this down, because I do see it as an eminent hazard. The other point Mr. Marquetti raises is CDBG. We are looking at, actually, 215 Morris Street was taken down by CDBG funds. So that was not on town taxes. That was, town general fund, that was on grant money. There is a property at 20 Brick Row that I've had my eye on for a couple of years. It's kind of hidden, so it hasn't been a real screaming problem. But CDBG, we have some extra CDBG money, and we are petitioning the state right now, can we use it to take down 20 Brick Road? The reason we cannot just randomly take down any building with CDBG is, and Mr. Marquetti is right, CDBG is specifically designed for targeted areas of the city to address blight and to address community development in those areas. But the town has to declare those areas. So historically, it's been the Chestnut Street area. I think coming up towards the Everett Street, but I'm not sure how far out. We recently got a declaration that a target area is going to be the Mill Street area, which puts 20 Brick Row on the table. The Pine Street area is not on it. In my opinion, I think that's a oversight. We should have included that. That's a pretty downtrodden area. but it's not on it, so we can't use CDBG in that area. There's a whole lot of restrictions on CDBG as to where we can use it, but we are trying to put at least one under CDBG dollars, as long as we can find one in the target areas.
Okay, Roland, you, sure.
Is 9 Road Street, I mean, another concern, exactly what Mr. Marquetti, it's always been my concern. Are they maintaining them secure?
I go there at least twice a week, and it is the most flimsy, secure job on earth, but it is
Is it still in
secure.
place?
There is
Okay.
a closet on the first floor deck
Mhm.
that is consistently open. Other than that,
Is that one of those?
the screw is still in the door. So it is minimally secured. Is it secured to my comfort level? No.
But as long as every time you're not going in there, the kids are breaking in,
The
playing.
doors, yeah, the secure is not flapping, there's no way to get around it unless you actually unsecure it. But again, the security is, and I'm now kudos to Mr. Marquetti again. The security is not, quote, secure. It meets, it's there.
Okay, all right, let's move on. You want, Beth, you want?
I actually do have a question for
Please.
you, since we're still on the topic of blight.
Didn't you say move on?
Aye.
Yes,
Just checking.
but what about the Vienna? Have you heard anything from the owners?
I have not heard from the owners. I was discussing it with both you and Maritza. We need to contact the owners because it has been significant enough time that I'm worried about possible food left inside. The Vienna is suffered damage by fire, is, I will say, neatly boarded. It's not an offensive boarding job. So it's not high on my priority as far as blight is concerned. But we do have a recent concern that perhaps food, because it was a fire, I assume they left in a rather quick manner. And my concern right now is possibly rodents, so we will be writing the owners, asking for access and doing an inspection to make sure the food's been removed.
Remind them about this sidewalk.
What about this? Oh, shoveling it?
Touch.
Okay.
I mean, it just looks like nobody's been there.
Yeah, no, it's,
So from my understanding, I know that's up for sale, or it was up for sale, right?
it's not.
It seems to
it's
come
not
and go.
listed.
And I heard it was sold, so I don't know if that has been purchased or,
If it's been purchased, then we'll have to go out to the new owners for it. They hold responsibility for the building. So I'll have to contact the assessor's office and see if it has been purchased, we won't know until the deed or the registry of deeds notifies the town. So we'll assume that it's still under current ownership. The owner did live there, right?
Mm-hmm.
So we're gonna have to make effort to try to find the owner. I don't know where they are right now,
They were staying with their daughter.
but we'll try to. We know some people who know stuff. We'll ask. I need that.
All set?
Yes.
Okay, set. Tony? Roland? Okay. So, agenda item
Is that it for
5B,
yours?
he's not on the
And goes to
announcement.
your house?
No,
Yeah, that's all I had.
the Worcester Street one.
Which was the street one?
Oh,
no,
the one that you
cars.
put the sign on, and then the
316.
sign disappeared.
Oh,
Oh, no, 361.
361 Worcester Street. Actually, let's talk about Worcester Street for a minute. I have one with a bagster that's been out there for well
Yeah,
over
I'm
a
tired
year.
of
That's
At-
333.
no, well before that, and I won't mention
It's
the,
been like
I won't
3
mention the
years.
address because I actually got on them and they complied and I
You
sent
put
them
a
a thank you letter and,
Yep,
no, it's gone.
it is gone now, okay, good.
Not the one you're talking about.
no.
Further down at 333, there were two backstays. I got rid of one of them.
Oh,
Took me some effort.
I saw him put a top on the one
Right
in front of the house.
Yeah,
So
the-
the
that one
asphalt
has a
in
top.
there.
That's
Yes.
333 Worcester. We
Yes,
have an order on them. They asked for a slight extension because it turns out you buy those bagsters and for $20 and they don't come and get them for the same $20.
yeah,
Well,
and it depends what you
that's
put in it.
That's not a
And
problem.
when you call them, they don't come and get them until they happen to have a truck in the area that's picking up bagsters generally. So you get stuck with those things on your yard for months until they have enough to make it worth coming into town with the crane truck.
So note
Because that's
to
the
people,
new
don't invest in those things.
Yeah.
So,
know that.
I have an order on them to clean it. They have called me back and said they put the call into Waste Management to come and get them, because Waste, I believe Waste is the, Waste has put them off. So I said, look, you're gonna have to get another dumpster, transfer the contents, and have that dumpster picked up. But then the snows came, so I backed off them because it's buried.
I did see them put a top over it,
There was a top before it
Prior to
snowed.
snow.
Before it snowed, yeah.
so at least nothing would fill up and leach out.
So right now, I'm waiting for the snows to melt off so I can say, look, you have the order, you gotta move
That'll
on.
be Saturday.
361 Worcester Street.
Mm-hmm.
This is my favorite story because I was hunting this gentleman for a long time. He was nomadic is the only way I can describe it. He was in Charlton, he was in Worcester, he was in Leominster. I believe he was in Leicester at some point in time. He claims his address at 361 Worcester. We finally found him in the Catskill Mountains.
Hiding out?
And the way we found him,
Hiding from the board.
and the way we found him was he sued me.
I heard that, but did he
This is for the
win?
sign.
So, we went to court, he ended up withdrawing because we convinced him that it was gonna be more of a burden on him if he lost this case than if he won it. But, while he was there, I had a gentleman standing next to me who served him the papers.
Nice.
So I finally got him in court, and we have a court order, he has, I believe the court order was for 90 days. That court date was in December, so we will be looking for contempt of court sometime in March. So he's under court orders now to clean the property.
Because it's been 2 years, and that's the other thing, never
It's been how
mind.
many years?
Well,
Yeah.
it's been way many years. It's a gateway to town.
Yes.
I pity the neighbors that are losing money on their properties, that try to keep it up. But the other bone of contention with me, it's been over 2 years that I've noticed that that sidewalk hasn't been touched.
Okay,
So if you don't want to play by our rules, go live in the Catskills and take all your property with you, as far as I'm concerned.
we have him under court orders to clean the property, that's all I have authority over. The unshoveled sidewalks.
Plus, no one,
Our
just the
police.
police don't writing tickets.
But as of March, I will take that one up on contempt if it's not done. His intention is to start taking stuff out of there a little bit. He's got a small trailer and a small vehicle. He's gonna take stuff
I
out.
know everything's nice and clean around his scooter and his blazer.
All right, let's
It's
get,
not his blazer, it's an neighbor's.
let's move on or we'll be here till midnight.
So I am on that one too, that one's been in court.
Thank you.
Okay. All right, agenda item 6. Tracy?
For reals?
At this time, I've been trying. I've been trying to get there.
Well, I don't have much, unless the board has questions. So good evening, everyone. It's spring out there, right?
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year. So we have one permit that I've been giving you an update on, and that is the SW 25 permit, which is CAD 1. CAD 1 that we'll be doing in 2018, and CAD 2 will follow. So we received an administrative complete from DEP on December 15th. So then, now what happens is the permit would go to admin review and then technical review, which is a 96-day timeline from that December 15th. So that would be the next time frame that we would have an update on the permit. So during that technical review, DEP would provide us with any comments they have, and then we would respond. So.
Are they going to put a public comment period after each of these reviews, like they do with?
It won't be any different than any other permit process. There'll be no difference in that. So that's the only update I have.
Okay.
Oh, no, I do
Good.
have.
Thank you.
What?
Oh, I was just going to comment, you did also know about the waste ban.
Oh, yeah,
And
yep, the tire program?
Yes.
Yeah, well, it started as a tire program and became the waste ban program, yep.
And that we got no fines this month? Or
No
this
fines
past
this
month?
month. So it is working.
See, it's working.
It is working.
It is not only working,
Congratulations on that.
but by leaps and bounds. Places that had over 40 individual violations came back with 6 and 8 for the month. Very
So they're
impressed.
checking with this 50
Very impressed with what happened.
Worked exactly how it's supposed to. They didn't care because. Just think, I just want to make sure everyone on the board has a chance to ask the questions that they have. All set? Okay. Mr. Marquette?
I just wanted to know what the timeline is for shutting down the landfill. Maybe that's what Tracy is talking about. But I was more curious about what is the timeline for the eventual closing of the landfill? When are they gonna start the process of capping, whatever process they go through to finally close it down?
I thought you've gone through this.
That's what I've been updating the board on.
This several times, and,
Is that what she means by CAD or?
It's exactly what I mean by
yeah,
that.
so it's in the whole process of what's going on. Remember, there's not an exact date, there's a phase down,
Okay.
that we're working, a variety of issues in play, right, Tracy? So, you have anything to add to that? No, I didn't know if you wanted that.
For rant aimlessly, I did that sometimes.
Okay, thank you, Tracy.
Thanks.
You're welcome.
New business. So we're all set. Agenda item 7, new business department budget. If you want, I can project it up there.
If you feel it would be best for the audience to observe, I'm not gonna talk extensively on the budget unless the board has specific questions or thoughts or ideas. We are entering the budget process right now, which means I have to propose a budget to the town manager for his review. He will make whatever revisions he feels are appropriate, and that will be a column. Our column will be shown to the council. His column will be shown to the council as a recommendation on his part, and then the council will vote yes or no on his recommendations. They won't vote on our recommendation, vote on his recommendations, or they'll say, Mr. Pelletier, why are you suggesting this much here? And Brian is only suggesting this much. So they could discuss it and adjust it. The reason I am bringing, we have not historically brought the budget to the Board of Health. This is the Department of Public Health budget. Last year, it was suggested that perhaps the Board of Health would like to get their eyes on the budget and,
You can do it the whole thing, let's see.
and then coordinate.
I'm done.
That ain't gonna work.
That's it.
And-
All
I
right,
have to read what's on the paper now.
all right, well,
Well, the council,
I'll get
I'll say it on the screen. So,
yes, it's right here.
I guess I'm open to any questions on the budget. I'm open to any thoughts from the board on projects they would particularly like to undertake this year that we may have to consider for the budget. I know, Dave, you want to keep your zombilism alive, so we are going to try to consider that when we're building this budget. But what I'm looking for from the board is, first off, any questions regarding the budget or what all these line items mean or stuff like that. And thereafter, where you might want to see efforts put for this budget, which case we might have to adjust and move stuff around in order to accomplish those goals. So I open it up to any questions.
What is capital outlay?
Capital outlay is,
Cemetery
What-
bond.
capital outlay is what, that is actually funded by Casella. The, when we did away with the recycled bank, I think it was.
I'm doing the other one. I'm doing the spreadsheet. This isn't the one you're on.
So am I.
Yes, it's actually line item W.
Go that way.
Well, I don't have that.
Dave, go to the
I
right.
write W,
Mine doesn't look like,
Yes.
yeah,
So 33,500.
yeah.
that's not, it's not.
When,
Is it on the other one?
it's right there.
No.
It's just not typed in,
Right.
that she's
No,
capital.
I know, I'm saying, what I'm looking at is,
Got it.
it's just not in the spreadsheet.
Oh.
That's all I'm saying. It just isn't in my spreadsheet. That's all.
Capital outlay is, the recycle bank, when it went defunct, there was an agreement that the value of that recycle bank was, I believe, $72,000. When it went defunct, Casella agreed to remit to the town the equal amount for recycling efforts. We have historically used the capital outlay to purchase, the last couple of years, to purchase our toters and launch the toter program. We have Now, understand this has to be used for recycling methods. So we have, since got a capital, it wasn't a capital, it was a special account or a special dispensation to buy all of our totes. So we have separate totes. This, I will be reaching out to the board and saying, what are we gonna use this for? So that 72,000 is, the 33,000 we've been using for the totes, the 20-something thousand that we use for, Mr. Hector, he is our curbside monitor, and he is going to be enforcing the solid waste laws we just adopted. And it's also split in several other places in the budget for recycling advertising, stuff like that, for the total of 72. Right now, I don't have a plan for the 33 for next year, and it may be the last year we receive it. Actually, I don't even think we get the 33, I think it's paid in installments, so it'll only be paid as long as the landfill's live. But, so I don't have a current plan, I have a partial plan. I am going to, with the closing of the landfill, we are going to lose all opportunities to be getting rid of tires, to be getting rid of illegal dumping, to get rid of the couch that you replaced your 7 couches this year, so you have to do something with the old 7 couches. So a lot of this money will be put into efforts of finding a place to send that is strictly recycling, not, it can't go to landfills, because it has to be recycling money. So we'll be using MetTech because they are an electronics recycler. We will be using Ruthia Tire type companies because they are recyclers of tires. They don't cut them in half and send them to landfills. We'll be purchasing probably trailers to hold that stuff until we have enough to make it viable. That isn't a current plan for this year. Beyond that, I don't have a plan if there is a beyond.
Citizen Chronicle too.
But it's recycling money that has to be used for recycling efforts. If I can roll some over beyond the life of the landfill, if I can get the town to agree to that, I will use it to keep a curbside person as long as I can possibly keep a person beyond the life of the landfill. Please.
What's advertising, what goes into this advertising and promotional?
Advertising.
That's the part of the zombie?
That is used for anything we have to get the word out. So we do a cleanup every spring. We use that to advertise the cleanup, we use it to advertise the zombie stuff. Basically, anything that this board wants to promote and launch as a program, this would be used to advertise it, and maybe buy a couple of the bottles that you would give out as, to accompany it, stuff like that.
So you're recommending 1,700, give or take?
This is the current budget, this is the current budget we're in right now. We are actually going to, because we have been asked to identify a 5% cut, we are going to propose, potentially we are going to propose a $300 cut out of that. Not that I feel that line can support, but especially with the landfill closing, I expect this board is going to become more proactive because less time is going to be spent on the landfill. So I think the advertising budget and the advertising and promos and the printing budget, I think they're going to become a little more critical because we're going to have to advertise what we're doing. But if they're asking for a 5% cut, I'm going to have to look to that line up part of it.
Okay.
There are certain line items in here that we cannot touch. We cannot touch the salaries unless I'm going to cut positions. We cannot touch specialized services. That is the money we give out for trash collection. So that is a fixed dollar. I cannot cut. Even though that's the bulk of my budget, I cannot cut 5% from that.
You really need MERS?
The question is, does she need it?
That's more of
Yeah, right.
So I was gonna bring up one thing during our time, but, another town manager is talking about doing a substance abuse advisory board.
We have one.
So, what I'm saying, are we putting any funds into that? Are we helping out with that, especially with the substance abuse?
If you walk into most of the public buildings, the library, this building, in the lobby, you'll find a rack of pamphlets and stuff, basically for advertising. The Board of Health bought those racks for all the town buildings. So when something comes up at that, we don't have single vote, we don't have solid vote on that, we have single vote. we don't control it. So if the group votes to do something, I offer to support it wherever I can. Opiates is one of the biggest.
Right, that's why I was
right
thinking,
now.
just because of that.
So we do commit some monies to help advertise some of the events and stuff that they do. Particularly thus far, we have bought those displays and we have supplied the flyers that go in. So very open to advertising for stuff like that. Red ribbons, we bought some, yeah, there's a whole lot that we do to help support the opiates. Did somebody call Santa?
So, you know, I know a few years ago, we talked about where are the priorities for the board. And one of them was blight, which seems to be being dealt with, you know, quite aggressively right now. What's that?
Except for all the other blights.
Well,
Property blight is
but
one thing, but we have
but
all this
before-
other blight going on.
Such as?
Oh, don't go ahead. No.
Donation boxes,
Right, but blight in general, you know,
the
so.
trash problems that we have because the trash got all screwed up the last 2 weeks.
I was actually gonna mention that in my announcement, so
So-
hopefully we'll be back on track next week, and I apologize for the,
Yeah, but it was on the website.
it was.
It was on the website, it was very,
So one of the,
Well, it's not supposed to.
yeah, one of the other initiatives that we were real concerned about is, we have a
I'm the landfill.
really high asthma rate,
Yep.
okay? And we tied that to the blight, that was also to the blight issue. And we have a high teen smoking rate, if I remember, and that we were going to address that. I don't know whether whether we want to relook at our priorities, or whether those should still be our priorities, or whether opioids should be something on our list. We can't do everything.
If the board
Well-
wishes to continue chasing, and I'm saying this wrong, because I hope the board wishes